ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Well, today we're going to be talking about the Apple being discriminating against Asians and white people. They can't apply for their entrepreneur camp. Yeah, that's right. So, we all know that these companies have a huge biases against white people and Asians, and it's almost like when these companies can't discriminate against black people, they're all like, okay, I guess we can start discriminating against white people and Asians. Almost like they have a huge problem of actually just being decent people. So without further ado, we'll go with that. Now, what we have here is that from this site saying Apple opens applications for the 5th year of its Apple Entrepreneur Camp. It goes on to say, Apple has officially opened applications for the 5th year of its Apple Entrepreneur Camp. Apple says that its Entrepreneur Camp supports underrepresented founders and developers and encourages the pipeline and longevity for these entrepreneurs and technology. On its website, Apple explains, research shows that founders from underrepresented communities face unique challenges, especially when starting and leading technology companies. We created Apple Entrepreneur Camp with the goal of supporting these founders and their organizations as they build the next generation of cutting-edge apps and to form a global network that encourages the pipeline and longevity of underrepresented founders and developers in technology. The heart of Apple Entrepreneur Camp is an extensive technology lab where you'll work one-on-one with Apple experts and engineers to significantly accelerate your app. You'll also hear from Apple executives and have the opportunity to form relationships with your fellow attendees at the conclusion of the lab. You'll present your progress, get feedback, and participate in Illumini programming, including presenting a live demo of your app. So, that being said, we'll be going over exactly what they're talking about here. So guys, if we all want to go talk about the reality of the Apple situation here, Apple says applicants are open for female, black, Hispanic, Latinx, and indigenous founders and developers. Apple believes that gender expression is a fundamental right. We welcome all women to apply to this program. And of course, as it says, Apple says applications are open for female, Hispanic, Latinx, and indigenous founders. So obviously you go see any white ones there in a row, right? This year's Apple Entrepreneur Camp will also include in-person programming at Apple in Cupertino. The in-person gathering will allow founders to meet with Apple experts and other developers at the Apple Developers Center in Cupertino. However, the entire program will still be available online for those who can't attend in person. You can apply to the Apple Entrepreneur Camp on Apple's website. So, that's what we have here. Now, guys, I'm going to focus on something here a little bit on what they mean here. Because maybe you don't understand what underrepresented means or what the far left means. Because if they're watching my site, then this is something that you probably should understand. So, see, underrepresented founders. Or we could go to underrepresented communities, and if we go here, it says the term refers to the group who have been denied access and or suffered past institutional discrimination in the United States, and according to the census and other federal measuring tools, includes African Americans, Asian Americans, Hispanics, or Chicanos, Latinos, and Native Americans. So, it doesn't mean white people, or Caucasians, or etc. So, last time I checked, that is a huge problem. And they're not really talking about it much, right? And of course, we have this from Lips of TikTok saying, wow, Apple Entrepreneur Camp program is opening applications only to minority groups. White people are not included on the application list. How is this legal? And then, of course, we go this here to U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Going to say, facts about race, color discrimination. Title of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 protects individuals against employment discrimination on the basis of race, color, and as well as the national origin, sex, or religion. It is unlawful to discriminate against any employee or applicant for employment because of race or color in regard to hiring, termination, promotion, compensation, job training, or any other term, condition, or privilege of employment. So, yeah, there's that. And then, of course, there's only one site talking about this, saying white and Asian men not invited to Apple's Entrepreneur Camp. If Donald Trump is reelected in November, he says he's going to do away with DEI in the federal government. The E stands for equity, and if Kamala Harris is elected, you're going to be hearing a lot about equity. Here's an example. Of course, we already hear about that. Apple obviously realizes that entrepreneurs don't all start out at the same place. As President Joe Biden has revealed, the difference between white entrepreneurs and black entrepreneurs is that black entrepreneurs don't have lawyers or accountants. Therefore, Apple is holding an entrepreneur account for female, black, Hispanic, Latinx, and indigenous founders and developers. It looks like white and Asian men need not apply. So this is, and of course, and what it says, this is a blatantly illegal, and Apple isn't even bothering to hide it. The link is still up. Yeah. So it says we're guessing this is legal because it's not paid employment, but instead a camp. It would have been nice if they could have photoshopped the white guy out of the photos, though. Again, they're getting blasted, and of course, Asians are considered white adjacent and not a marginalized group. So again. It says, now that they'll get away with it, just like all the DEI internships and scholarships and the university admissions. Now they're excluding Asians. Welcome to the club, brothers and sisters. Consider it a badge of honor. Yeah. So, again, what we have here is that, is that Apple is just being hateful towards Asians. Or being hateful towards white people, specifically white men and Asians. So I guess what we can say here is this is horribly against the law, and they have unrepresented groups, which, you know, obviously if you code that in, it just means of what we showed here with African Americans, Asians, Hispanics, or Chicanos, and Native Americans. But of course, it also means, you know, Asian Americans. And this is what the insane part is, right? Like, what we have here is the complete racism and discrimination against white people and gender. Because they're violating actually technically two laws here. Because they're talking about the race and color discrimination, and then the gender discrimination, which we would have here. Which would be gender discrimination is when someone is treated unequally or just disadvantageously based on their gender, but not necessarily in a sexual nature. So again, it seems that this is a huge problem, right? Because it's the Civil Rights Act. So they're violating the Civil Rights Act. They're violating the race discrimination. So I don't know what they're talking about here, right? I think that this is a huge problem for Apple. They should be sued into oblivion, and maybe, just maybe, they might have an issue here. Because nobody else is talking about this, right? Nobody else. It's just one group of people, like one site talking about this. For example, we go here, and look at this. Apple's woke racism gets exposed from Washington Examiner, but there's nobody else talking about this, all right? If you go to news, who's talking about this? Who? The Daily Wire, which is, you know, not a site that's talking about this at all. Apple, Washington Post. Apple's lobbying against a bill aimed at shopping forced labor in China. Or if we want to go to our favorite site, here at Ground News, let's just go here. There is only one site talking about it. There's nobody on the left talking about it. There's nobody saying anything. So again, you guys get to see the picture here. Nobody else, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, are talking about this because it doesn't fit their narrative. And that's just the reality of everything. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted. This is algorithmic disease, the social media.